Hello. I want to welcome you once again to another exciting episode of Things Reality. I am your host, Pastor Udo Mwobi, and today we are going to be looking at a wonderful subtopic under our ongoing topic, the ongoing series, Parental Supervision. Today's exciting topic is curfews. Curfews. This is a word that many of you have heard. Many of you are currently familiar with. Yes, very familiar. Some of you like it. A lot of you probably hate it. But today we're going to be exploring just what it means, why it is necessary. Because sometimes you need to have a background understanding of why something came about in the first place to appreciate it's very important to you. So we're going to start first of all with some definitions of curfews, because we have various types of curfews beyond the ones we're going to be looking at under parental supervision. Now, it says it is a regulation requiring people to remain indoors between specified hours, typically at night. So, for example, you have a dusk to dawn curfew. It also says the hour designated as the beginning of a curfew. To be abroad after curfew without permission was to risk punishment. That's an example. It says it is a daily signal indicating the beginning of a curfew. They had to return before the curfew sounded. So these are just examples under that. Now move on to another definition of curfew. It says a curfew is a specific time of day at which by rule you must be at home. It can also refer to the rule itself or the period during which you must stay home. The word is typically used in two main ways: the curfew set by parents for their children, and the kind of curfew ordered by the government to limit public assembly after a certain time of night, especially during times of war or civil unrest. Parental curfews typically require the person under curfew to be home by a certain time at night. Government curfews generally require the same thing, but often have other conditions. Usually, civilians aren't allowed outside after the stated time and must stay in their homes until the curfew is over. Such curfews are typically enforced by the police or the military, and those who violate the curfew can be subject to consequences like fines or jail time. Government curfews are usually ordered to prevent large gatherings of people, such as those protesting, often with the stated intention of preventing violence or destruction of property. However, such curfews are sometimes criticized for violating the rights of citizens to peacefully assemble. We've taken our time to see, first of all, the word curfew defined for us in detail. It defined the fact that yes, there's ones that can be given by parents to their children and from the government to its citizens. The most important thing is that when it is put into effect, the children or the citizens are supposed to be indoors. They're supposed to no longer move around outside their homes. So they must be indoors. Anyone going outside at that time is typically going to be punished or pay a fine from the government. The government will impose a fine. If it's for parents, they can now punish the children. Now, some may ask, why do parents give curfews in the first place? Shouldn't I just go out and then come in whenever I feel like? Am I not allowed to move around freely? There's right of movement, freedom of movement. Yes, there is indeed freedom of movement, but you must remember, you are a minor, you are a teenager, you are so young. And anything can go wrong simply when you are in a place where you ought not to be. Are you aware that there are certain people who have had curfews defined for them by their parents and who decided not to adhere to those curfews and they paid grievously for it? During the course of this series, we're going to be seeing examples of what happens to those who don't play within the rules of the curfew set for them. Now you might ask yourself, why are curfews set for me? I need to understand this. The world as we see today is a very dangerous place. You might think you are growing up in a community that is probably peaceful. There is no overt violence. You've not heard of shootings. You've not heard of killings. You've not heard of armed robbery. So you think that all is well. But the truth of the matter is this: when your parents set those times for you to be indoors, it is a bold statement, a bold declaration to the fact that they care about your safety. They want to see that you do not lose your life. They want to see that you are not injured because you are in the wrong place at the wrong time. So you see a lot of teenagers complaining, okay, now for every parent, how they decide to set their curfew, it differs for each parent. Some set based on how they feel they were raised themselves. Some set based on how they feel that, okay, this is what I want for my own child. This is what I've watched, this is what I've heard, this is what I've been told I should do. The most important thing is that when they set it, try to understand where your parents are coming from. Try to understand what their fears and their concerns about you are. And don't just think they're trying to stifle you or keep you back from having a fun life. You might see some teenagers who have parents that don't care if they don't come home till late hours at night. So for them, it's quite normal. But for you now, maybe you have your parents telling you, I need you to be home now, depending on your age. Maybe you're still like young, 12, 13, 14, and your parents like, okay, you cannot be outside beyond 5, 6, 7. And now you see someone else within that same age bracket coming home as late as 11 p.m., 12 a.m. in the morning. And now you come to your parents and like, I want to stay out that late. Just imagine if they were going to allow it, they allowed you to stay out that late and something happened. What would be your first impression? What would you do? Who would you turn to for help? Who would you turn to for assistance? Because now the person going to be carrying out the attack on you will not tell himself or herself that, he's still a child, he's still a teenager. No. As far as they were concerned, you were where you were because you wanted to be there. And to their own understanding, if your parents scared, you should not be there. So understand something, that when you choose to stick within the confines of the curfew set for you, you're not just preserving yourself, you're showing the fact that you respect your parents and you appreciate the concern they're showing towards you, that they indeed want the best for you. Now, we move on. You see, the need for curfews. The need for curfews. Curfews set by parents play an important role in your teen's health and development by promoting sleep, routine, and stability. So that's the need for it. It helps you in your development by promoting sleep, routine, and stability. There's some of you, if you don't come home on time, you're not able to get adequate rest. So now your parents know that they need to bring you into a time when you can be at home, do assignments, attend to chores, then be in bed and get the adequate number of hours you need each night. There are some of you who stay up, you come home late, your body is in a kind of hyperactive state, you're unable to settle down, you end up sleeping perhaps around 2, 3 in the morning, then you have to wake up as late again at 6 or 7 and you feel tired, you feel weary. So imagine starting off your day like that. You get to school, you're not able to pay attention. So you're in school, you're not understanding what is being taught. You are sleeping, you're dozing, you're missing out on important information. You get back home, you crash into bed again. Some of you now, then you leave the house again, and the cycle continues over and over again. There is no stability. You're not being developed in the right way. Your health is also affected. In fact, some of you now begin to suffer from something known as insomnia. And you do not want that. So next we see, curfews also, another thing is responsibility. Curfews teach teens time management, balance, self-control, and responsibility as they transition into adulthood. It teaches you time management, balance. One thing my father was fond of saying was that self-discipline is the best form of discipline. Why did he say this thing to me in particular? Okay, I remember I was done with primary school, or as elementary school. So I was going on to secondary school, and I was going to be attending the boarding school. I was going to be a boarder full time. meaning I would no longer be living with my parents. Now, my father wanted me to understand something, that despite the fact that they would no longer be with me, that's him and my mom, that there were others who were going to be taking place to also regulate the time. So that those curfews, those set calendars, the schedules that are built up from when you wake in the morning to when you go to bed at night, everything is designed to teach you balance, teach you how to manage. And when you realize, okay, I have 30 minutes to do this, I have 40 minutes for this class, I have 1 hour for this break, you understand, I have 6 hours or 8 hours to sleep, all these things will teach you how to manage them and how to appreciate it. You begin to learn how to make the best use of the time available to you. Have you ever taken out time to discover the fact that something you thought should take you up to 2 hours, if you actually plan it out, might take you only 1 hour in the day? But because you've never tried to cut down the time, look at where you can eliminate delays or where there have been lapses, you find yourself overspending time. But now, through the introduction of curfews, parents can begin to teach their teenagers how to appreciate time and how to manage it. You begin to realize that there are only 24 hours in a day, but you can make those 24 hours worthwhile and worth it for you completely. So it teaches you time management, balance, self-control, and responsibility. When you begin to realize, I need to let people know that this is what I'm doing at this particular point, and this is where I am supposed to be. This is how I'm supposed to comport myself, because I'm in this location, I'm with this set of people. This is what they're expecting of me. Then responsibility. I won't be found missing from where I'm supposed to be. If a task is assigned to me, I can accomplish it within the specified period. So instead of becoming vexed at the fact that curfews have been imposed upon you, ask yourself, what really can I learn? What really are my parents getting at? Are you willing to see it from their own perspective, from their own point of view? Because yes, your reality might be your friends accuse you of being boring. They're like, okay, you're not fun to hang out with. You are just going back home when the fun is just starting. But the question is, what kind of fun must they have only at night hours that cannot be brought to an earlier time during the day? If it must only be had at night, then you need to consider that kind of fun activity. In one of the videos we're going to watch, you see how one of the activities you might think are simply harmless can cause grave harm to others and to yourself also. It might look harmless on the surface, but deep down, there are consequences that you have to deal with for years going forward. It says, people have been killed by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Coming home at a specified time shows that your parents or guardians care. If they didn't, they wouldn't bother. Appreciate the fact that they are there for you. Some teenagers wish for it and don't have it. They then tell you that they feel better for not having it, but are actually envious of you. Very true. There are some who tell you, oh, your parents are too stiff, they are too controlling. Oh, my parents don't bother about me, they allow me to do what I want, they give me what I want. But deep down, there is a cry within them. I wish my own parents would care also. I wish my parents would call to find out why I'm not home at this particular point in time, what's delaying me, am I having any challenges as I'm out in school or out at another activity. Some are actually envious. And now, if that child is such who has never had any kind of parental supervision, you need to be careful the kind of thoughts that will be going through his mind. He might tell himself, he or she might tell themselves that they want to play a fast one on you. They will make you sound like, okay, just hang out with me today, nothing is going to happen. But at the end of the day, something dangerous does happen. You pay the consequences, your parents become disappointed, and then they lose trust in you. So you must be careful. Sometimes your idea of rejecting the curfews, be certain that it is not just you who wants to reject it. You understand? Are you sure it is not just friends suggesting it to you, peers, making you think? that you can decide your own life the way you want it, and that you don't need your parents to supervise your life. Well, we're going to go for a quick break, and when we return, we will continue. Do stay tuned. Remember, this is Teens Reality. You can reach out to us with your questions, your current challenges, your problems, your opinions using the number +234 813 929 2708 or send an email to teensreality@lifechangerstouch.org. Do stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Hello, I want to welcome each and every of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important. Alright, welcome back. We are continuing our topic, curfews, the importance of curfews, why your parents instituted it in the first place for you, and why you need to appreciate it. Because as I made mention of that, there are teenagers who sometimes wish that they had this kind of supervisions over their lives. They see you having it in yours, and they're actually envious. So when you have it present, when you have a parent who actually cares to know where you are, who calls, who seems like as if they're always nagging, appreciate that fact. Be thankful for it. There are a lot of orphans, there are a lot of people in foster homes, there are a lot of people who have been displaced, who are begging on the streets, who have no one, who have no relatives to take them in. And if they are given the opportunity to take your place, they will not blink twice at it. You know, I was watching a movie recently and I heard a statement. It said the person was like being undermined at his job, being made to feel like, okay, we don't really need you, we're going to like lay you off. And he made a statement. He said, I've just come to realize that I'm part of a machine. Now nobody really understands how important every part of the machine is until that part is missing. Take out that part and people understand how important that part of the machine was in the first place. So sometimes you may tell yourself, imagine if your parents were to remove the curfews. They tell you, okay, we're not going to impose it on you any longer. Come home when you want to. Do what you want to do. How would you feel? What would be the end result? What would be the output? What would your life turn out to be? What would it be like? Because there are certain things that you do not understand can happen when you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let me give you clear-cut examples. Number one, as a young lady, if you're out in the wrong place at the wrong time, you can be raped, sexually assaulted, and there'll be no one to help you. You can be brutally injured. You can even be killed. You can be struck down dead. You can be shot at. You can actually find yourself becoming an accomplice to a crime you never even knew was being committed in the first place. You ever see when police comes into a place and they're not even willing to ask questions, just they round everybody up. Capture before questions. And imagine if you don't have the kind of person that has the ability to bring you out of jail. You enter into the jail and it's all over. Imagine in places somewhere like maybe like Nigeria, where we are now. In the wrong place at the wrong time, your parents don't even know where you went missing. Nobody to call, nobody to reach out to. You just like the word you say, someone disappears instantly. There are some people who have been child trafficked into prostitution, into doing what they never wanted. Some people have been shipped out of the country. I use the word shipped because they were bundled and packaged either onto a ship, onto a plane, onto other vehicles, and shifted from their state, their city, their village, their community to other places, perhaps even outside their country. And when maybe they woke up hours later, there was no way to go back. Some people were left trapped for years. Sometimes, in fact, some now came under torture. Some tortured, in different ways. And sometimes you need to think of these realities and don't just look at it from the point of your pleasure is being affected. You are cared for, you are appreciated when curfews are put in place. Be it 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7, 8 p.m. Appreciate it. As you grow older and you show your parents that they can trust you, they can begin to extend those timing, but they also need to be sure that you will be in a place where your safety will not be threatened or not be put at risk. Like take for example, you think maybe you're just going out for, say, a simple birthday party with friends, and maybe that day you now tell your parents, okay, that can they extend the curfew, and they tell you no, try coming home earlier. I know that the party is going to go on longer, but please come home earlier. And they've asked you, okay, what's going to be going on at the party? Are they going to be drinks? You tell them no. When actually drinks are going to be there. And now people now tamper with the drinks. They put something in there. And before you know it, people become this. Boys can be raped as well as girls. Not only girls are raped. As a boy, you can be raped by anybody at all. And you wake up, you're feeling disoriented. And it can lead to what? Unwanted pregnancies. Unwanted pregnancies. You do not want that. You don't want that at all. Recently there were, I think, is it 2 or 3 people that recently created a kind of nail polish that when you apply it, you can use to stir your drink to be sure that no date rape drugs have been applied. Like, there are drugs you can put into someone's drinks, whether it's alcoholic drinks or not. Someone drinks it and you are easily agreeable to being sexually assaulted. So if I saw meet you and they're like, it will show that you are not resisting, you are quite willing. But the most important thing is that your inhibitions were lowered. So now curfews are put in place to ensure that you don't find yourself in this kind of dangerous situations and are unable to help yourself get out of that tricky situation. Unwanted pregnancies. You might tell yourself, okay, I can easily get an abortion. Some people have gotten abortions, damaged their wombs, are unable to have lives. Some deal with the stigma for the rest of their lives. No peace of mind. For years afterwards, that feeling of guilt, it doesn't leave them. Now your parents are telling you, I don't want to start out life having this feeling of guilt hanging over you. I don't want to start out life thinking about the fact that you're going to be dealing with a life-threatening injury, a state of paralysis forever. So I care enough to impose those curfews, to monitor where you are, to know that if I call that friend or that activity where you say you're going to be out, I'm certain I'm going to get you on the phone at that particular point in time. Be willing, accept it. A lot of things can go wrong. A lot of things can go wrong. But you have a choice to make today to decide that yes, I will not be part of that. Are you perhaps afraid? Are you perhaps being bullied right now and being told that if you don't accept and go against your parents in rebellion, if you don't rise up and say, okay, I'm going to do things where I want to do it, that they're going to cut you out, shut you down, make you unpopular, haze you, cut you, all those kind of things that make you feel like as if your world is coming to an end. I'll tell you the same thing I told you when we were doing the friendship series. You don't need those kind of friends in your life. If that's kind of pressure they are bringing to bear upon you, you might be better served looking for newer friends. And if such things are going on with you, please feel free to relate it with your parents. Tell them, now, Mom, I know you're doing this for my good, and as a result of this is what's happening in school. Let them know. I'm quite certain that your parents tell you almost exactly the same thing. That is, those ones who have cared enough to put those rules in place in the first place to ensure that you are well balanced, that you are stable, and you are developing health-wise and mentally in a good way. Discuss with them. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of your parents for caring about you. Sometimes it's when you begin to show shame towards what is actually normal and right that people can now begin to make you feel bad for it. But when you tell them categorically, yes, the curfews are for my good, I need to be home at this time, anything can happen, and give them examples of what can happen to them. That it has never happened doesn't mean it cannot happen. It doesn't mean it cannot happen. If you even look at Jesus in the Bible talks about the fact that when he was 12, they took him for the Passover. And when it was time to return home, they discovered he was missing and they returned back to look for him. Sign of caring parents. And now this was Jesus when he was young. So a sign that your parents care for you is a sign that they care to know where you are. They want to be sure that nothing has happened to you. Appreciate it and don't look down, don't despise it. Alright, we're going to be stopping here today. The law has been discussed. In our next episode, we're going to be looking at critical examples of what can happen when you decide to ignore the curfews that your parents put in place for your own benefit. But remember, please share with us your realities. It might be that maybe the curfews they've set for you, you feel is too harsh and you just want to speak out your mind. Feel free to reach out to us on the number +234 813 929 2708. You can send a message, WhatsApp, Telegram, even on TikTok, we'll reach back to you, or send an email to teensreality@lifechangerstorch.org. Thank you to all of you who have stayed tuned so far, for the teenagers, the parents, the teachers, the guardians. I love you, I appreciate you. Till I come here next time, I'm your host, Pastor Do. Hello, I want to welcome each and every of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important.